Wednesday, midweek, isn't it?
Yeah,
and
at the last day of February.
Yeah,
oh,
the last day. So today would have been 31st if February had, a lot. Yeah. I'm wondering, so with tomorrow getting into the new month, that'll be Ghana's Independent Month, right?
Yeah.
Last year we had Ghana 60 years on mobilizing for Ghana's future. You remember the photograph we took, and the Ghana 60, this is at the Flagstaff House Junction. Okay. And this was the emblem they put out there, that Ghana 60 years on mobilizing for Ghana's future. Well, it's been like that for close to a year, more than 6-8 months.
It's still there.
And it's still there. It's on the floor.
So this photograph was taken yesterday?
Yes. No. Okay. This one, these are photos
as
at the time I took them. Nothing has changed. It's not been erected. Nothing. It's just been left there. The first time it fell, the policeman there who was directing traffic put this cardboard on it. I don't know what for.
He was protecting
what? So this part, okay. So this was it. And up until now, the year-long anniversary, which was supposed to have been celebrated, I don't know what's happened to it. Have you heard anything? Okay. This year we are told it's going to be Ghana Beyond Aid, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So if we couldn't mobilize for Ghana's future, are we able to celebrate a Ghana Beyond Aid?
Well,
I'm just asking. I want to know. Maybe I don't know.
I think when it comes to these things, the committees are just enthusiastic. They come up with the ideas, but the implementation, Johnny, something as simple as a billboard you erected to symbolize that
near the Flagstaff House.
Exactly, it's at a very crucial point where I think at least ministers will pass by, MPs will pass.
The president
doesn't anyone see this? It's just they don't care, and that is money gone down the drain. Why erect something if you don't think you'd sustain its erection and you just leave it on the floor? Sorry, it's early, but of course you know what I mean. But guys, I mean, they're just wasting money. And I remember even the celebrations, I thought we were going to pass a torch around.
Yeah,
what happened? I haven't
well,
seen
we were told that we were going to have a year-long celebration. It was going to be sustained. I remember Jefferson Kwame Nasaki was here, and he said that, and repeatedly we had heard so many of those. I haven't heard anything else apart from one or two things that have been done. So I'm wondering,
maybe John, what about maybe if we have not gone out to see what we were
gone out where?
No, but the plan was to keep us informed.
For instance,
we haven't had that.
We're told every district or region was to have a library.
Yeah.
Yes.
A physical library and a mobile library.
And a virtual library. I don't know where, but see, right, there was a published program for the entire year.
There was.
It was not followed.
For which money was used?
So,
let's not forget.
And we were told that was it 20,000?
Yeah.
200,000. 200,000. And part of it was just going to be sponsorship, not government's money.
Exactly.
We know that government advanced some funds to it. And as we get ready into, March 2018, we want to know. We are just curious. We want to know because it's a taxpayer's money. Yes,
I think it's a right
But I'm sure getting to Sith March, we'll hear a lot more about the activities, and then again it will fade away because
I've seen a new logo though, and I'm wondering. Okay, so we're going to have a new logo every year. At what cost? Nobody tells us because even this one, nobody told us. And all the money, this is quality. I'm into printing and branding as well. So this is quality. If you look at the
money was coming from corporate Ghana.
The type of metal. So corporate Ghana could have used this money to replace some beds at Kolebu or Achimota Hospital for the children and the pregnant women who don't have it.
And to fix the Lekma Road.
Beautiful. but this is it. So we spent hundreds of Ghana cedis to get this, and then we left it just like that. This we could have altered. We could have kept the base, altered the top where Ghana 60 years on, and put the new logo on it.
So that we can change.
We can just change it and kept the base. Now this is it. It's a funeral, and I don't know. And you see, I want to link that to the vice president's residence. You remember, it was huge. Millions of dollars were said to have been spent. Back we see Mr. Ada said he was not interested in the house. That's why he halted it. And we had a lot of hue and cry in the transition period. Nothing more has been said about it. So we're a nation of talkers, really. We're a nation of talkers. We talk when we are tired, then we go and sleep.
So how do we stop the armed robbers? Yesterday's thing was quite worrying for me. Really worrying. To see armed robbers in broad daylight execute such a Hollywood-style kind of movie that I used to see. I don't know.
I have said that I'm not safe. I've said it. Yesterday I said it. And I'll say it today again. I'm not safe. And you see, when I saw the reports that the initial statement that the police had issued, they were even scanty on details to tell us what the details are. But then they go into assurance again. And I'm wondering, okay, how many times are you going to assure? And each time you assure, what happens to us, the citizenry? People spend all their monies trying to get something small. Somebody earns 550 Ghana cedis. It makes all the savings to get a decent vehicle. And somebody takes just a snap to smuggle out, to snatch it from them.
And did you listen to the young woman who was narrating how, a guy, how his father was killed? Okay, I think Oyibi, the one at Oyibi, with a pickaxe used to knock the father's head until he died, and they threw the body over the wall into another compound. Really, for me, it's worrying. Very, very. I don't know.
I also want to urge the public that when this thing happened, do not, argue with these robbers. Just give everything.
Look, that's what the police.
If you're driving, if you look at, I saw a short video. If you look at how this one happened, they just stopped the gentleman, and it was just a split second, and they shot him anyway. So it was not a matter of arguing with them that I wouldn't give you my car. They just opened the car, the door, and then they, in a split second, they are
but
shot
in most
already.
cases, the casualties, they argue with the robbers. So,
No, but
I
this
have
one,
situations where people actually have come to the hospital because of these.
Yes.
And you know that some people, even at the instance of seeing armed robbers, you go into a panic mode. Some people don't even utter a word, but it's all the psyche of the person coming. If he has planned to kill you or to hurt you, he's going to do it anyway. It's not really about the person's response.
Right.
And so, in as much as, yes, attempt not to fight or engage into any discussion with them, but really, we just have to be protecting ourselves as much as possible. Be your neighbors, watch. Look, I don't know what we can do as a society.
Was it true
but really,
that, because I had one of the narrations that there was a policeman nearby who had a gun and that could not fire.
Right.
I see.
As for that, we wait for investigations to prove,
but then
because
these are what the eyewitnesses, those who shared the video, said they saw the policeman go closer and it was trying to cock the gun, and the gun. That even puts the policeman at risk.
Exactly.
Because if the robbers see that he had a gun, was trying to get back at them, they could have opened fire on him. And I'm worried because if this had happened to an MP, and we have examples, bless the soul of Honorable J.B. Dankwedu and all the others who have died, through such these things. If any of such happens to any of our parliamentarians, the first thing you will hear them say on the floor of Parliament is that their security should be tightened.
Exactly.
But you know that all of them got elected into Parliament by the very poor people who cannot protect themselves. So already they have some security, but when it happens, they call for more security. What happens to us? Do we have security at all? I think that is a selfish way. The politicians do not put our interests first.
Definitely
they don't. Look.
John, put some
Finally, look. $90,000 or more gets one V8. You remember when the Kwabenya incident happened? We were told that we're going to retool the police and we're going to give them 200,000 or something. That is less than what one V8 is. That even costs. Okay. Has that money been given to them 4 weeks after that incident?
We'll see.
No. So now the question we are asking is it just mere talk? When the president, the IGP says, we will retool the police and so you must feel safe, or is it just lack of commitment or will? Well, if we sell one V8 in the fleet of the president's vehicle, or one MP decides to sell his vehicle, we can acquire guns that are working for the police.
We certainly will.
Can you imagine?
But it's time for
this is not good.
With the news to set us up for the morning, guys.
News is up next on NewDay. Thanks for staying, and we start off with the presidency, where President Akufo-Addo has said that Africa needs to build value-added industrialized economies with modernized agriculture in order to take full advantage of the digital revolution if she's to create wealth and prosperity for her people. He said Africa needs to change the structures of her economy, which is largely dependent on production and export of raw materials.
Describing Africa as a rich continent, if not the richest, President Akufo-Addo said Africa has the world's second fastest economic growth rate, the world's fastest growing region for foreign direct investment, and a young and vibrant population, and possesses nearly 30% of the Earth's remaining mineral resources. Thus, in order to create prosperity for the African peoples, President Akufo-Addo indicated that the priority must be to change the structures of the economies on the continent, which are dependent largely on production and export of raw materials.
Africa needs to transform stagnant, jobless economies built on the export of raw materials and unrefined goods to value-added economies that provide jobs, to build strong middle-class societies, and lift the masses of our people out of dire poverty. We can only do so if we participate in the global marketplace on the basis not of the exports of raw materials, but on the basis of things we make.
The continent's second priority, he said, should be to increase trade and investment cooperation, not aid, as this is one way healthy economic relations can be developed between Africa and Germany, and indeed with the rest of the world.
With Africa's population set to reach some 2 billion in 20 years' time, there are immense opportunities to bring prosperity to Africa and to Germany too, with hard work, enterprise, and creativity. I urge German organizations and companies present to take advantage of this and enhance their trade relations with Africa.
President Akufo-Addo suggested deepening German-Africa trade and investment to generate investment in agro-industry, the energy and power sectors, and infrastructural development. The president called for increased cooperation between Germany and Africa in ensuring the promotion of transparent, inclusive decision-making processes at local, national, regional, continental, and global levels.
In other news, an Afrobarometer survey on local government indicates almost 7 out of 10 Ghanaians, representing 69%, want metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives elected. Only a quarter, representing 25%, however, wants them nominated by the president and elected by assembly members.
The survey was conducted by the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, in all 10 regions of the country between September 9 and 25 last year. It is consistent with previous Afrobarometer findings conducted in 2008 and also in 2012, which reveal that majority of Ghanaians want MMDCs elected. The 2017 Afrobarometer survey touched on election of MMDCs, trust among public office holders, job performance amongst others. The findings also indicated that 51% of Ghanaians say the election of MMDCs should be non-partisan, while a sizable majority representing 41% prefer partisan elections. On responsiveness and accountability, 65% of respondents say local councillors do not listen to their views, whereas 75% also believe MPs never or only sometimes listen to their views on critical national issues.
Generally are saying that it is time we get the opportunity to elect our own MMDCs so as to improve transparency and accountability at the district level and also to improve decentralization.
Deputy Local Government Minister Osei Bonsu-Amoah is optimistic appointment of MMDCs would improve transparency and accountability at the local level.
Those going to vote for the assembly members in September 2019 would also be voting on the question whether these MMDCs should be elected on partisan basis or not. Based on the findings, and which we expect the media to also come on board to support, is the fact that there's a constitutional requirement that at such referenda, 40% of voters should have turned out. And then 75% of those who turn out should vote for that particular requirement, whether MMDC should be elected. So with the 51% saying that we should do the elections, it means there's more work to do.
Other speakers agreed making such positions elective would generally improve the local government system. and also called for more sensitization to enable citizens better understand the system and demand accountability from office holders.
You're still watching news here on New Day. On to other news. The Executive Director of the Ghana Standard Authority, Professor Alex Dodu, has suggested the implementation of new building codes to prevent buildings from collapsing to enhance public safety. He was speaking on TV3 flagship morning show, New Day.
Buildings, especially private buildings in Ghana, are tested at any stage of construction.
You must ask.
And I'm saying this because you spend all your money to put up a building. You don't check the soil, you don't check the foundation, you don't test the walls, you don't do anything. You finish, the cables themselves that you buy, you don't know, and then you move in, and then you just call a priest, he prays, and you think happily ever after. I think science and knowledge has grown where this should be stopped. So our view is that from the day we passed the building code, from the very first day, we want Ghanaians to be aware that please don't put your investment at risk.
Right.
If you're putting up a building, test the soil. Because some soils are just not good unless you've done something to it. The foundation must be tested and certified.
Right.
It's not going to be mandatory.
The lands are scarce all over the place. Housing deficit is all over the place. And you want people to test and do what?
I want them to be sure that the investment they are putting into their houses would last their lifetime. How many of us have not put up a building only to come and see the cracks in the building dancing, and one is not safe.
Right.
The passport office on the Gamal Abdul Nasser Street around the Ridge Hospital runabout has been closed. There has been no word from any official at the office as policemen continue to man the gate. Senior editor at TV3, Brian Anamfo, visited the passport office and has come through with this report.
I am on the Gamal Abdul Nasser Street. This is the street that runs in front of the Ghana Institute of Journalism through to the Maritime Authority to the passport office. Now, this passport office serves a number of clients, apart from the one at the former Foreign Affairs Ministry, main Accra. Now, clients who have come in this morning are told that the office is locked up and that they can't get in there to transact businesses. Some of them said they were here last week and they were told that the place is shut down for a reason. Officials in there are suggesting that the recent rains has caused some development and some repairs will have to be done. So all the offices have been shut. Even those who are picking their passport can't be guaranteed the chance to go and pick them because there is no officer here and you can only find policemen on guard duties at the main gate. People who have traveled from far and near are worried that at least they should have been told that the office is not working. They have been told, however, that all other inquiries will need to be directed to the other office in main town, Accra.
As we always do, keep an eagle eye on this development and keep you posted in our subsequent bulletins. On to other news. An Accra Circuit Court has remanded a 26-year-old Kenyan woman into police custody for trafficking into Ghana narcotic drugs with a street value of $90,000. The suspect, Ivy Muguri Daniel, was arrested by officers of the Narcotics Control Board on January 9 this year, carrying narcotic drugs at the Kotoka International Airport.
Ivy Muguri Daniel arrived at the Kotoka International Airport on board Ethiopian airline flight ET921. She was arrested by NACOP officers stationed at the airport while undergoing arrival formalities. A search conducted in the luggage revealed a big parcel wrapped with black polythene material containing white powdery substance weighing 3 kilograms. A test conducted by the Ghana Standards Authority on the substance proved positive to speedball, a mixture of cocaine and heroin with an estimated street value of $90,000. The suspect claimed ownership of the luggage and admitted the offense. She, however, mentioned one Benson, whom she described as her fiancé in Kenya, as the one who gave her the parcel to be delivered to him in Accra. She was subsequently arraigned and placed in prison custody pending further investigations and trial.
And now a 63-year-old man has been remanded into police custody by Accra Circuit Court for offering for sale his 9-year-old granddaughter for 100,000 cedis. The accused, Medaho Agboji, was arrested by the Anti-Human Trafficking Unit of the Criminal Investigations Department in Accra upon a tip-off.
Was arrested on February 22 at Dankwa Circle in Accra. According to the police, he was looking for someone to sell his 9-year-old granddaughter. The police said some of the people he had contacted informed the anti-human trafficking unit of the police CID. The suspect was contacted and a meeting arranged. Midaho Agboji did showed up with a girl and offered her for 100,000 cedis. He was subsequently arrested when he was about to collect the money. Preliminary investigations later revealed that Agboji, a resident of East Legon, was the one initially taking care of the victim when one of his daughters came to pick her to the Volta region to live with her.
As we speak, the child has been sent to a shelter and is undergoing rehabilitation. We would also want to appeal to the general public that they should, as quickly as possible, volunteer information or give information to police regarding some of these criminal activities.
Midaho Agboji has since been remanded into police custody to reappear in 2 weeks.
4 suspected armed robbers escaped after they took away an unspecified sum of money from a transport and spare parts company located at Ring Road North Industrial Area here in Accra. The robbers reportedly locked up staff of Royal Motors before running away with the money amid sporadic gunshots to ward off people.
No one is reported to have been injured in the raid at about 9 o'clock Tuesday morning. They also reportedly took with them a CCTV system they suspected could expose them. In their haste to escape with their loot, the robbers ran their getaway saloon car into another car, causing the tires of their car to burst. They then abandoned their car, seized the nearest saloon car and managed to get away before the police arrived. According to the sales and marketing manager of the company, the robbers came in to purchase a motorcycle and were ushered into an office to discuss the cost for the item. In the course of the discussions, the robbers flipped a gun and began firing.
We heard a gunshot, a warning shot at the security gate. Then my secretary just ran to me, calling my name, screaming my name, Baba Alasan, I'm robbers. So I got up from my office. Then they pointed the gun at me. That's your life or the money. All of us, then I drew him down, then we all enter under the table. Open the drawer, carry his money, shouting, where is the money here and there, before they went to the cashier's room and carry the whole amount of sales that we had on our drawers.
Currently, the company has temporarily halted business activities.
And now let's do some politics, where the National Democratic Congress, NDC, has accused the Ghana Integrity Initiative, GII, of mischief in relation to its Corruption Perception Index it issued last week. The Ghana Integrity Initiative issued its Corruption Perception Index, CPI, scoring Ghana 40 and attributing it to a wide range of corrupt activity which occurred under the previous administration and the current government, describing former President Mahama as the only president to have scored the highest CPI 48. General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Esiedu Nketia, said the GII cannot import dangerous opinion into a report issued by its mother organization, Transparency International.
Last week, Transparency International, which issued its report, gave a score of 40 to Ghana out of a clean score of 100. This placed Ghana at the 81st position out of 180 countries ranked. After the report, the government and the main opposition party, the NDC, have accused each other of contributing to the low score. The GII, in its report, attributed Ghana's low ranking to numerous corrupt activities which occurred under the erstwhile NDC administration and the current administration, including the bus branding scandal, the 2016 election-related corruption scandal, the Central Medical Stores arson, the National Lottery Authority bribery scandal, and the Ghana Standards Authority 1.2 million Ghana cedi corruption scandal. General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Esiedu Nketia, said the GII's opinion is meant to cause mischief.
It was conducted by Transparency International. And then when Ghana Integrity Initiative was doing a press conference, they decided to import some dangerous opinions into that report, create the impression for Ghanaians that what is happening on the CPI front was attributable to 2016. Let us watch our NGOs too and the way they conduct themselves.
He described a recent comment by President Nana Akufo-Addo in which he attributed the low score to the corruption recorded under NDC also as untrue. The NDC also catalogued corruption cases from 1998 to date and said former President Mahama remains by far the only president to have performed better among all other presidents.
The table above shows clearly that Ghana's best ever performance on the CPI was recorded under an NDC government led by President John Dramani Mahama in 2014, when he obtained a score of 48%. The table also shows that the country's worst ever performance was recorded in 1999 under President Jerry John Rawlings, and in 2002 and 2003 under President Kufuor, when we scored 33% in all these 3 years.
The General Secretary also predicted the country will score low again in the next ranking of the Corruption Perception Index.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Integrity Initiative, GII, says it is not perturbed by accusations from the National Democratic Congress, NDC, accusing it of mischief. The NDC had earlier accused the GII of putting its own interpretation in the report issued by Transparency International. Executive Director Linda Ofoye-Kwafo, however, rejected these accusations.
We don't have any interest interpreting the results differently because every information is on the website of Transparency International. You, the media houses, can go there and learn more about the CPI 2017, and you get to know nothing. Nothing was implanted, whatever the NDC is calling it. We have been in existence. If you go back and check all previous press releases, you obviously will have to cite reasons that might have influenced people's perception. And obviously, I've not listened to the NDC, but I'm very much sure they also try to explain. If they want to say NDC is corrupt, they will list a number of things that have happened. Will we say that NDC is also impugning other things into the CPI? No, we don't do it that way. CPI doesn't have to be politicized. We should be worried as a country how we've been dropping from the highest score we ever had of 48 to now 40. Actually, it really saddens me when I get to know that CPI is being politicized. We didn't do anything wrong. We actually presented the issues as they are.
You can get more news updates on our website, 3news.com. I'm George Queenin. Many thanks for watching. Have a good morning.
Well, it's time for newspaper headlines. We'll start off with Ghanaian Times. It says, 4 robbers attack Royal Motors. Police hand attackers. Also, major street lights break down as Accra and regional capitals plunge into darkness at night. Also, the president urges African countries to take advantage of digital revolution and modernize agri. Then finally, the vice president says Ghana to add value to cocoa and gold within 5 years. These are the stories on Ghanaian Times.
I have a bias towards the major street lights that are broken down, and I think that we should all have it as a major concern for us. You know, drive through town, and not just in Accra, the whole place is dark. But I'm happy that the 3FM, Onya FM, Let There Be Light campaign, which came up, is sorted out. For example, the people of Sabripo near Michelle Camp and the students at GIJ can now heave a sigh of relief, because I remember as a student of GIJ how we were attacked, we were robbed at knife point, how our phones, our tablets, our laptops were taken from us, how our female colleagues were sexually assaulted sometimes, you know, in that dark alley from the police headquarters all the way up and through the, what do you call it, the former British High Commission. So this is good. What we have done now is to install about some 36, 37 street lights. Now, the focus is to install 1,000 lights across the country, but it depends on us to do it, because it looks obvious that the state has forgotten about us. They have ignored us, and so we must take care of ourselves. And I want to link this to the security issue, where we are told to be responsible for our own security. So now we are being told literally to be responsible for our own light. So the support is there, and if you're touched or if you want to be a game changer as well, all you need to do is to, in kind or in cash, bring your lights to us or your donations to us here at Media General TV 33 FM at Adisawe in Kanda, and we'll take it and acknowledge you. Big thanks to the Ghana Electrical Dealers Association, you know, they did very well in the first tranche, and also to some philanthropists who did it. I'm happy, but let there be light is on, and we will light up everything. Whoever says no, we don't agree.
All right. Johnny, the Times has done a very good thing. I think that this is a problem that we have all failed to talk about, and it is really, really worrying. You just scan around Accra. There are major streets that are simply without light, and that's very, very dangerous. Look, there are certain stretches of roads in Accra that when you use it, you virtually driving with your heart in your hand.
Exactly.
Because you don't know what could happen the next second. The roads are so dark, you are unable to see a person crossing if the person is not in the proper clothing. So let's talk about it. I do not see why at this level in our development we cannot use solar energy to power our street lights and make sure every street we have in Accra has some illumination, okay? Let's talk about these things. There are a couple of them that we are always interested in discussing every day, but the simple ones that affect our lives, we have neglected them. How difficult is it to provide street lights? If we cannot provide street lights, then what are we doing as a society? Exactly. What are the assemblies doing? Some few years ago, we were paying for street lights. I don't know what has happened though, but what happened to it? I think that we need some more action on these things.
The 1%. I'm even worried more because, you know, in light of recent accidents and the increase in the numbers, when we talk about accidents and we say we want to curtail them, but we forget talking about the lights. Because our roads are muddled with, you know, potholes. And so you need the illumination. Because, I mean, driving in Ghana is now scary. It's not as fun as it used to be because the roads are bad. And so every stretch, you need to brake. There are human beings crossing, there are pedestrians, there are other cars even packed on the shoulders, and so you can't even see ahead. And then to worsen it, exactly, there's no light. So when you tell me you want to curb or curtail accidents, but you're not doing anything about lightning, I mean, I sit down and I really wonder if you're serious about it. At least if the lights are there, everyone can see, you can at least dodge the pothole before you even fall into it or mistakenly step on the brakes and someone will hit your back and then the ripple effect. All these basic things, you know, when you do the street light, it covers almost a majority of the population. It talks about the pedestrians who will be safe, the car users, I mean, everyone will be safe. The bicycle riders and then of course even the reflectors, let's not come there because sometimes the roads are so dark, even when the people are in the right uniform, you can't even see them because we have trees that have overgrown and they are, you know, forming a canopy over you can't even see. So when we talk about solar energy, we have it in abundance. Why won't we have it?
We don't use
and yet
it.
we're talking we want to do big things in the future, but the future is now. Why not start?
We have no excuse.
Check with China. My colleague is in China studying medicine. He said the first time he got to China, he was so amazed that all the high-rise buildings had solar panels on the side and on top of it. And he stayed in China for 4 years. He said they never experienced light off, not even once. 4 years. And so he was wondering if he was in a different planet, on a different planet.
Yeah, of course.
And then he realized that, okay, the Chinese think differently from us. We have sunlight every day, almost every day. Even when it rains, the sun still muzzles its way through the clouds to come. And we don't have solar energy. And you see, the annoying part is where you have those solar lamps installed and my torchlight at home is brighter than those LEDs. So there's no light, literally. And you're wondering what's happening. Now, the 1% you're supposed to be paying for the street lights, we're told that it's supposed to be for maintenance and not for installation. So we have not made provision for installation. And this is one thing that the Minister for Roads and Transport, Mr. Mwakwata, must focus his attention on. Good morning to you, Mr. Mwakwata. I don't know if the President, in his interaction with him at his assessment, asked him this question.
Where are the street lights?
Yes, where are the street lights? Let there be lights. Where are the street lights? You know, I don't know.
The lights are there. I'm coming back on the maintenance part because you see the poles are erected. You see some frames there.
The bulbs are there.
But whether they're being maintained is the problem. And so if you tell me that you have money for maintenance but not for installation, that's okay. But you've not maintained it enough to even get them illuminated. So why do you even think about installation? So I, for one, will want to see the ones that are there currently working. And then later we push on to say, okay, so now you've dealt with that. Let's install new ones. But when they don't work and you're taking money for it, what are we doing, guys?
Look, Johnny, I'm sure, Johnny, you will be aware. There is a street between on the Ogu Road, they asphalted, I guess, maybe 6-7 months ago.
Okay.
Now, when it is asphalted, okay, it takes some time for them to come and do. They put some white dots on it as the marking,
the markings.
So that when the proper markings are being done,
yes,
those who come to
demarcate properly.
Go and look at what happened. After some months, they came to put the dots on them, which meant that in a few days or so,
they had to come and do the proper marking.
The dots has been
it's all wiped off. It's all faded.
Okay, that's the level of neglect, and how even neglect is not a very good word to use. I don't careism.
Yeah.
We simply don't care.
You remember that?
What excuse do we have not to fix street lights on the motorway when we're taking money from people?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Johnny,
every day.
What is
Every day. Go to Dodowa.
What is the excuse?
The stretch from the Madina, what do you call it, the Manida station, all the way on to Dodowa. Check the street lights. I mean,
what is the excuse?
The few that work are blinking.
And
So
you're wondering, is it a disco? What is it? What is it? What are we trying to do? We don't have street lights. Common thing as street light, and you know that people have problems with their eyes, so visibility at night is a crucial issue, and this is why I expect the National Road Safety Commission to be up and doing. The Ministry for Roads and Transport should be up and doing. This is why I expect the NGOs who say they care about the safety of people should be up and doing. I don't see it. It's just we talk too much in this country.
Unfortunate. And you know, that whole incessant, rampant, let's do this because some person in our party has come up with the idea, but we don't have the follow-through plan of it. Because these lights, when they came on, we were so enthusiastic about it. We put them up, oh yes, we're lighting up Ghana. And then what happened? It faded away. So at least the person who brought the idea, at some point, don't you also think, okay, people, this is the idea I brought. Why aren't you, you know, pushing it? Why aren't you getting these street lights to work? And you, because you've taken your money, you fold your arms and you sit back and you think everything is okay.
You know,
good morning to you and God bless you.
God bless you.
Add that.
Growing up, those street lights, I mean, come up with a bit of swag. So I remember back at Abusuka, we used to stand by the roadside and then it lights up white and then starts becoming amber and then goes on like that with a bit of swag, and we enjoyed it. We longed for it. 5:30, close to 6, every evening we'll come and stand there and look at it. And then by 6 o'clock, the lights go off by itself. Today, what do we see? The lights, the places where the lights are, they are struggling with the sun for illumination. And you're asking, do we need a Ministry of Common Sense? Do we need a Ministry of Common Sense? Mr. President, I think we do. A Ministry of Common Sense
would probably be the top. If no ministry exists at all, that should stay.
You know, when we sit and talk like that, do you know our viewers out there? We do know what they say. Well, they say that, okay, you are complaining about street lights, but we don't even have the roads to talk about.
Can you imagine?
I know, right? We live to fight another day. But guys, we're ranting about asset declaration. What do you think about it?
Oh, it's a wasteful venture.
Well, you just put something in an envelope, whether it's newspaper or receipts, just go
it's
and
a
drop
wasteful
it there.
venture.
And it's
How do you declare what you don't, nobody knows.
Right.
And it will be an infringement if the person you are presenting to opens it. Unless Trudge or some court orders that go and open it. So whether you declare that you had 2 houses or 4 houses or you inflate it or you beat it down, nobody knows what you declared. It's just there. So the law is actually a useless law, let me say. Because if I am declaring my assets before I get into public office and nothing is going to happen. Now I heard the Auditor General said that if you earn more than 3,000 cedis, you have to come and declare your assets. Declare
it was only interpreting the law.
Yes,
but it's been there.
But declare it to what purpose?
Okay.
If I declare my assets and nobody knows about it, the people I'm serving don't know about it. If I'm an MP, and people have always alleged that MPs within 6 months, 4 months, 1 year enrich themselves. That's a perception out there. And there's nothing to prove that I declared X, and so by the time I'm leaving,
check against it.
What is the essence of the law? It's a useless law.
Johnny, it's a simple.
I mean, law.
As for the issue of let's do some to represent some, it's everywhere, because a whole passport office can be closed for 2 weeks,
and nobody
would tell anybody.
But anyway, guys, let's hear what you have to say out there on the streets as you rant with George Cranen this morning.
Public
servants who earn over 3,700 Ghana cedis are to declare their asset, and that's according to the Auditor General. And this Auditor General has some limitations. He has no power to prosecute persons who fail to declare their assets. Unlike Australia, where these assets are declared online, here you just have to submit a sealed envelope to the Auditor General, and he has no right to open it and to push come to shove. And there are calls that we should rectify that. Will this solve corruption in entirety? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
Good news and bad news at the same time. To those who earn such an amount at the end of the month, I think it's a bad news. And to us who are insisting on fighting corruption, we say it is something in the right direction towards achieving our goal of trying to eradicate or fight corruption. And corruption fighting is it's not an event, it should be a process. A process. You put in institutions, and then the commitment should be there. It starts from the messenger up to the presidency. So in fighting it, you must come down to see how best you can get more people on board so that you can check that canker that has been worrying us, that has been killing the economy economically, financially. And I think, for me, I will support that direction in the sense that it will at least put some fear in some civil servants so that they will know how to go about their normal works.
But now we move from this state to why do you declare assets to run government? Because this modern age and beats, I think they should review that act. They should review it, because I know this is the act. I'm going to handle government position, and you're asking me to declare my assets.
I mean, you know what you came with, and so when you're leaving, we know what you're living with. Genuinely, you know this. You got them genuinely. You didn't take state funds to
fighting. You can't say you fight corruption. Corruption is there. It's a collaboration. So why do you fight corruption? I mean, why do I collaborate with you and fight corruption? My government is in power, and I know that whatever I've done inside of my government is harder for you to scrutinize me.
But can't we change that perception? Can't we change the status quo?
No. The fact is, I say we should update all this. Before you come to government, we know the standard of persons that we are. You can't go to a businessman who know that this is a business that when you involve him in politics and expect him not to do business. But that means you accumulate more. You get more profit, you invest more.
But don't forget that these same people who we think have money can siphon state funds. You should know that.
He will tell, let me tell you.
Let
me give an example. Let me give an example. You can't tell the Minister of Finance should stand still this business.
I'm not saying that.
No, that's what I'm telling you.
But you're making it seem like the person has money, so he doesn't need state money. That's what you're making it seem like.
No, I did not say so. I want you to know that when the person has money and is in government, he's going to enrich his more.
Okay.
So my point here is that asset declaration does not have any power to investigate somebody who you know that is coming to the government and he's a rich man. Obviously, you ask him to declare it, and he declare it. And after he declares asset is in government, are you going to check him until 4 years there you come to open or to scrutinize what he has in it before to match of what he had now? So you can see that there's no way that it will work very effectively.
It's in the right direction, because we all want to fight corruption. And that's where corruption starts from. Yes. Because you see someone holding his office. Yes, this is where they start doing so many things. They will tell you they are not politicians. Then they will direct everything to the politicians, whereby they start doing this kind of that's where the game is being played. Yes, they play the game very well. Then they will invite the politicians to come and take their part of them. So I think it's in the right direction. If you want to fight corruption, then it is in the right direction.
Okay, so the Auditor General has limitations. You know, if a public servant fails to declare his or her assets, he can never prosecute the person. He is handicapped.
I heard that even now they are requesting for the AG to give them a power to prosecute.
Okay, because AG has the power to prosecute.
Yes, but it's AG who normally will sublet some of the powers to them so that they can prosecute. It's up to them to defend yourself in the court when you prosecute. So people refuse to understand that when they see somebody prosecutes, it's like it's not a sentence. So prosecution is different. Yes. So sometimes when AG said that they need a power to prosecute, I think that is in the good direction. But if you do not declare assets, I mean, is it a crime? I don't think they made it a crime. They will just deny you. But that will not make it a crime or something. But you can see a lot of politicians that we know we know some people, even the person the person does not even earn some certain salary before he gets to government. But the person
once it is an act of parliament, it is bound on those threshold who have been captured. It is bound on them. So it's their duty. It is compulsory and mandatory for them to declare it. Why are we doing so? Because you have seen people coming. You know them today. By 3 months, 4 years, you see them change in lifestyle and the rest. And that perception, sometimes, many times, have tend to become reality. And I think, I'm saying, fighting corruption is a process. These steps that are being taken, first, it was the Article 71 people. Now, the new AG is saying that let's move down here because they are also part and parcel of the administration. And that is where these things come from. They are better collaborators in terms of corruption. They know how to cover, they know how to uncover, and they know where to put it so that even the minister or deputy minister cannot see. And he will apprehend his or her hand before you see you are landed. And that is where this law comes from. Caution financial loss. You push, you can see he or she.
A minister is a casual worker to the states. If they say today you are a minister, you are just a casual worker.
You can reshuffle,
Yes. So at any moment, you can be out of government. So if today you are a minister and I'm a civil servant in the when I collaborate with you, meaning the civil servant
will still remain.
Yes, he will remain there. So you the minister.
So that's why
you know that
to declare their
you know what mistake that people keep on thinking. There's no minister in this country sign check.
So that's why they have to
sign check.
No minister sign check.
Why?
Oh, when you go to even ministry, when you work in the ministry, there's a treasury. The treasuries have to report to the Minister of Finance. You know, all of them control accountants, auditors. So you can see that at the end of the day, the minister is there to show that the policies and programs of the government has been achieved at the ministry.
He signs for approval.
So
to
me, at the ministries where we think that there's a procurement act and other things, the minister there will bring his programs and ask you to what? To support it by the budget that was passed in Parliament.
Okay, but look at this though. I know several people who don't want people to know what they have, their assets. You know, attention, we just hover around them. So if you want me to declare my assets, I think some would not really want to work in the public sector. What do you think?
You have a genuine mind and you are a genuine-minded person, then you have to declare your assets.
Are you telling me?
I'm not saying I don't want people to know my business.
But I don't also see anything wrong with you declaring your assets.
So if you say you are genuine, then you are telling me that the politicians that they are controlling our country, they are not genuine.
No. You said politicians don't do what? Ministers don't do what?
They don't sign checks.
Yes. So is who signs the checks?
The directors, the chief directors, the financial.
Are they politicians?
They are not politicians.
They are the most corrupt people in the organizations.
Because if we take politicians as corrupt people, forgetting the civil servants.
No, let me tell you, the scenario was created that politicians are the corrupt people.
Yes.
Nobody, if you ask somebody, that is the perception. And you know what?
When you look at some scandals that hit, the civil servants.
Let me tell you, even if you want to look at it, I can see that the MPs and the ministers, they don't demand much according to our constitution.
I'm saying this country has suffered a lot. I'm saying to you, in a year, we suffer about 4 billion Ghana cedis in a year through corruption.
Okay, so when you go to Australia, when you go to Australia,
you are comparing Apollo to Australia advanced country.
Let me start this question. When you go to Australia, for instance, no. We are learning from them. We are learning from developed countries.
No, they started before.
The thing is, when you go to Australia, you can go on the internet and know the asset of, let's say, your ministers. But here in Ghana, you just submit a sealed envelope to the Auditor General, and the Auditor General cannot open it. Until push comes to shove. Do you think? Do you want us to rectify that act, where maybe we can also see them on the internet?
Yes. So we have to know what the minister has before coming into power. It's very, very important. One, because if it's sealed, how would you know what is in his document? You can never find out unless maybe something happens.
So they should review that. Yes. So for me, after reviewing it, I stand by it. You should review it. If they review it,
come to the public.
Yes, they should review it. We have to review the act right now. If the act is being reviewed, look, you want to be a minister or deputy minister or director, declare everything of yours.
What are we talking about today?
Okay, today I want to talk about the state of the economy.
State of the economy. All right, peeps. So join him and I on this show, The Rant, A New Day.
Daily Rant, New
Daily
Day.
Rant. I got it right. Daily Rant, New Day. Okay. On TVC3.
Yeah, TV3.
Yeah. On TV3. You are not nice. On TV3. Join us on this show, Daily Rant, New Day on TV3.
Yeah.
We rock.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, thanks for staying there. Daily Graphic starts the morning. It is telling the story of the robbery at Accra here, and it says the robbers attack Royal Motors, both with thousands of cedis. The story is captured on page 3. And build value-added economies. President calls on African countries at German African Economic Forum. And another big one on the front page, sanitation crisis looms in Accra. Those are some stories we'll take a look at. The Finder says data on waste generation outdated. Panelists outline solutions to poor sanitation. And the police is telling us this morning that 9 have been arrested for robberies on Forex bureaus at Spintex Road here in Accra. Action movie style daylight robbery at Royal Motors. The story there. And the law school issue, we're told that the General Legal Council has scrapped admission interviews for the law school. And Heritage says NDC begs for RTI law to catch thieves. Describes appointment of Amidu as a roadshow. That's the story. The Statesman says government ensures all teachers. Education Minister's photograph is here. My guest this morning, the former Member of Parliament for the North Nine constituency, a member of the NDC, George Lowe. He's also a legal practitioner. He's here. George, good morning.
Good morning, Brad.
Hope you're doing great.
Very good.
You've been missing for some time.
Yes, I've been busy doing other things.
It's good you are back.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Thanks so much. We're still waiting for a rep, Richard Santiago of the NPP. He may be joining us very soon. But let's begin with this story on the front page of the Daily Graphic and several others. The Finder, the Heritage, and all other newspapers have this story. The robbery at somewhere Veno Tessanor, and we were told by Juliet Safo that 4 suspected armed robbers yesterday allegedly stormed Royal Motors, an automobile company in the industrial area in Accra, and made away with thousands of cedis of the company's sales. Like a Hollywood action movie, after the attack, the robbers snatched a BMW salon car from a man after shooting him to run away with their booty. They were said to have fired warning shots to scare bystanders from interfering with the operations. Before they ended the operation, the robbers were alleged to have dismantled the CCTV camera installed at the premises of the company to erase any traces of the activities. Now, the PRO of the Accra Region Police Command, Assistant Superintendent ASP Mrs. Efia Tinge, the police received information that the robbers entered the premises of Royal Motors at about 9:15 and they quickly took action. That's what the police said. We also told that a private security officer is said to have told them to park their vehicle and use the pedestrian walkway since vehicles were not allowed into the premises. But before the officer could record the registration number of their vehicle, the men who had initially claimed they were at the company's premises to make inquiries pulled out a gun and asked him to lead them to either the cash office or the manager's office or the account office. They later went to the sales executive's office where they collected all the monies from the manager. Well, the police has issued a release. The Assistant Commissioner of Police, Mr. David Eklu, said that something is being done. I think the release is in relation to the robbery at Forex bureaus on the Spintex Road. They said that they have arrested 9 persons in connection with the Forex bureau and money transfer robberies. So that's the story so far. George, let's start from here. Are we overwhelmed by these robbers? Is that the situation?
Well, Bright, good morning once again, and good morning to your cherished viewers. Right, as the stories unfolded yesterday, I still haven't recovered from the shock that I have, and I have, been wondering, And
there was one also at OGB.
Yes, and I have been wondering where we are getting to in this country. It looks like we are paying lip service
to
security issues in this country. I think that we have some lethargic approach to the way we do things, and we believe ourselves that every day would unfold as a normal day. I've said that every 2, 3, 4 years, the kind of monumental paradigm shift we need to make in every sphere of our national life, we don't seem to be realizing that. And therefore, you run the risk of getting into some of these things. One, when you have a commercial area like that area.
Right, industrial area.
That industrial area. Yeah, north
area.
industrial area. And the security is so lapsed. Because you would have expected that, being a commercial area, you would have a permanent police post, some police presence, and then some intelligence, going around that place 24/7, so that police would be able to step in quickly and nip some of these things in the bud. But if you have this kind of, Hollywood or Nollywood or Gollywood kind of thing happening broad daylight, and the police seems to be helpless under the circumstances, then you begin to ask yourself, did we go or did we come? But even more chilling, over here, they go there, they demand money, and maybe there were other people there, and so. But what about as I listened, I think City FM, Joy FM started these issues about going into areas and asking about crime situations. And as I listened to the chilling stories of how families have to suffer because they were helpless and they couldn't reach the police, and the police says we are not resourced to respond. Then you bet. I mean, if you have little children in your house, how do you feel? You feel so unprotected, and then you begin to ask yourself, how are we even deploying the small little logistics that we have? Let the IGP come and pass to work, and it's a fleet of 4, 5 four-wheel drives with a dispatch rider in tow.
That has always been the practice.
I'm saying that let the 2IC, let the commissioner CID and see how they pass, the kind of vehicles and how they pass. We forget that the IGP's V8, can buy 10 more police vehicles. And that is why I have always, remember, I've always had a thing against buying V8 for public officers, buying V8 for all these people. When with one V8 for some chief director or assistant chief director somewhere, you could have 4 pickups deployed to the police to do work and protect us. 2, again, Brad, let's call into focus the way we are recruiting officers for the police in this country.
That is not good.
I know people don't like it when you talk about it. But when you are recruiting people based on party affiliations, based on our boys.
Some MPs I heard on radio saying that I helped recruit these number of persons.
You see, and even when you insist that at least those people should be qualified, they will tell you job for the boys. So the police or military are doing recruitment, and the list must come from Faster House, the list must come from here and there, and then family members are put there. Competence is the last thing anybody looks at. How are you sure that these people can, stand the test of time when they must respond to some of these things? The IGP promised us, if you remember, he launched a program that was supposed to make Ghana one of the best in terms of police service. I don't know how I don't know how he rates himself as we speak. And if it were a civilized democracy, by now the IGP should voluntarily turn in his resignation, say that, look, I promised something, I haven't been able to deliver on it. So thank you. He's on contract. If I were him, I'll say let somebody come and take over and let's see if new ideas
You think he's not done well?
Why? Right, how can you do well? You remember not too long ago, the Director General CID said only about 30% of CIDs are professionally trained.
Right.
So what investigations are we doing? Are you surprised that we never get to unravel most of the things that happen? Because if only 30% of your CIDs are trained, When they ask somebody to investigate something, is he going to investigate it when he lacks training for investigation?
But if these didn't start from yesterday, why for instance, should the IGP leave because of these?
Do you know why they appoint people into new offices when new governments come in? It is because you are bringing a breath of fresh air. Why? If after next year, TV3 decides to appoint you director general manager, it is because they believe that you have something, you are bringing something on board that will be different from whoever used to be there, particularly when that person may not necessarily have even finished his term. So if you come and you are not bringing anything new, and sometimes maybe the statistics show that your predecessor was doing better than you, management should be able to fire you, or you should be able to be honorable enough to resign. That is the way others do it and succeed. It's only in Africa where even when the person is not performing, we are saying, oh, he shouldn't go. Why should he go? He shouldn't go because he's our uncle, because he's our brother, because he's my father's friend. No. Right, these are serious issues. We must do 21st century police.
Would you buy into the argument that general security is okay, these are isolated cases? That has always been the defense of the police service. And several communications from government officials.
Well, I don't know about general security, but if you lived in Oyibi, I don't know what you will feel like. If you lived in Jerusalem, in Ashaman somewhere, if you lived in Community 21, if you lived in Amahia, if you lived in all these areas where ordinary families are, subjected to the kind of things they go through. Somebody was telling me yesterday that the 8-year-old daughter, they used a metal to hit her because she came out and started shouting, "Daddy, daddy." How will you feel if you stood there and watched that happen, and then you agree that the general situation is okay? No, right. I see. It has been 1 year of the NPP administration. Maybe 6 months ago, you could have said conveniently that, oh, they've just come. After 1 year, you want to see a phenomenal change in the way we fight crime in this country. We want to see things done differently. When the former IGP was there was something we call community policing and police visibility and things like that. Do you see them that much these days? Maybe there's been a change of focus. Good. But to what end? Is that change of focus delivering on the mandate of the police? The police genuinely have issues. They interviewed the district commander yesterday. No vehicle. In my constituency, NewDay, we fought and got a police district. No vehicle. The men they've posted there are less than 10. How will they be able to? And the police district is not even conterminous to the normal district. Sometimes in NewDay, we have NewDay, Afajato, and parts of Bebe and things like that, all under one district. And they have no vehicle. The commander even hasn't got accommodation. You have to look for accommodation for him. They don't even have police. I mean, the situations are so, and yet we are paying attention to other things. Somebody will say, yes, it's we politicians. I have been attacked several times, you remember? Because I don't have a police person in my house. I don't need a police person 24/7. But I used to be a former MP. You will say that I'm a frontline politician, I'm politically exposed, fine. But I'm also saying that let's do it in such a way that even the ordinary people of those who pay 50 cedis a day because they carry water on their head, they are also contributing to the development of this country.
How do you think the IGP vacating office will resolve this?
I am saying that when you take up office, the thing that checks you to deliver, that's why they have what they call contracts or targets. It is the target that pushes you to deliver if you want to continue to stay in office. You cannot continue to stay in office and enjoy the perks of the office and yet not deliver on what you promise the people. The only reason why even the president is subjected to election every 4 years is for the people to decide whether he has lived up to expectation or not. But the IGP is not an elected official. But yet there are targets he must meet. We make somebody Inspector General of Police because the understanding is that he understands police business enough to make the internal security safe for us. And then what is the level of collaboration? That's one of the questions I keep asking. For the internal security of this country, you have the BNI. even IOCO and all those ones can be drafted in because it is intelligence.
Right.
It is intelligence. For the people to go there and remove the, what is it called? The CCTV. It means that they had information that, first of all, there's CCTV there. 2, they probably had information that maybe they take the money to the bank after they count it the following day. And so when you get there this time and this time, you get money. So you see, we must be ahead of the criminals all the time. And this can only be done when you are gathering intelligence. It doesn't mean, it begins to look like you'll be held to BNI because you said something against a politician or something based on political. But no, you don't see the situation where you are, that the BNI is going around, nosing around, finding out what is happening, what the dynamics are, even telling the police patrol that, oh, Charlie, it looks like this month, this place is under attack. Why don't you? Nothing like that. Because they tell you when they call the police say, oh, well, we are trying to get a patrol team. They get a patrol team which is itself so far away. That is why some of us were saying that, look, it was a good thing government decided that we are going to buy, instead of all the security, the armored vehicles that we were buying for, the bulletproof vehicles we were buying for the presidency, they converted some to buying cars for the police. But why do you buy a Corolla? When you are going to Amahia, or Mahia, or the road is so bad that the Corolla may not be able to go through the gullies. Why not a hard body? So the issues are many. The issues are many. Police do not like discussing certain things, and I respect that. But it is we are even hearing that the armory of the police is not as resourced as it should be. They don't have bulletproof. Few people have bulletproof vests to wear. And for all you know, look. Robbery have become so well sophisticated that sometimes even the criminals, when they are coming, they have bulletproof vests. So if the police do not have and the criminals have, so you see, look, I always say that in this country we do not prioritize. If we prioritize right,
we'll
get things done. And then our priority areas are, we are only interested in how to make money for ourselves. Public officials, ministers, those who must take the decision must first and foremost think about what results they need to achieve before they even think about what they get.
I see. In terms of numbers, you think that the number of policemen we have is able to deal with our security situation?
Well, it's clear that we have far less than the UN standardized requirements. But that should not be the excuse. We've never...
We should be able to deploy them.
Yes, we've never...
adequately.
We have to, that's the whole point. That is the whole point. I'm saying that in Ghana during the day, sincerely speaking, if a minister is going to parliament to do parliamentary business, what business does a policeman have to, an armed policeman have to sit in his car and be waiting for him to go and talk in parliament and come and go? There were some who never carried police and nothing happened.
Especially when they are in opposition.
Yes, but I went to Nigeria. I had an escort when I went to Nigeria as a member of parliament on government delegation. But he wasn't a policeman. He was a trained intelligence officer. So why don't we train, if we want people to be with our ministers and provide guard services, must he be a policeman in uniform?
They can be on the street checking these.
Yes, so that we have people, we also a core of people trained, and they are personal assistants to the ministers because they are trained. They know how to handle arms, they know how to do these things in addition to the services that they will offer the minister. We don't need armed policemen. Or we don't need uniform policemen following ministers and government appointees around.
Right. That's the Daily Graphic this morning, talking about the robbery that took place. The police, however, says that the robbery at some forex bureaus in Accra, they have picked up 9 persons. And so we'll see what will be the outcome. But let's go to the finder this morning. We're told that data on waste generation outdated. Panelist outline solutions for poor sanitation to deal with the situation. We're told that panelists at a forum on sanitation have made wide-ranging proposals aimed at addressing the rising poor sanitation situation in the country. They are talking about securing new landfill sites, employing people with requisite expertise, converting waste to power, using waste for organic fertilizers, beefing up staff strength at the Sanitation Ministry, conducting research into the volume of waste generated in Ghana, as well as attitudinal change. George, I'm sure you have these recommendations. You have hit your ears over and over and over, and yet we seem to be at the same point in fighting sanitation. Can we ever win the war?
Oh, right. The war can easily be won if we want to win it. For me, I think that the attitude we have is that we are not interested in winning the war.
Per the attitude we show.
Yes. What have we done about waste? We have consistently said that we even recognize waste in itself as, if you want to put it, as that very important, waste in itself as that very important resource that can generate income for this country.
We have not recognized that.
We've recognized that. We've said that over and over and over again. But what happened? We never seem to want to get to that point. You see, when President Akufo-Addo attempted, rather, by trying to speak in a way during the State of the Nation, and he managed to bastardize and the Ewe language, of course, to no fault of his. He's not an Ewe, so he tried to quote, and he couldn't get it right. But you see, what he sought to do is that he said what? Oh, you see, he says that when the thing is important, the attitude towards it should show an attitude of what? Importance. Or you must be eager. We should see eagerness.
We are not showing that.
We are not showing that when it comes to, and we haven't shown that over the period. It's a few people, yes, Zoom Lion and others have come in.
But the president has set up a Ministry of Sanitation.
But you see, that is our problem. Our problem is that we believe that just administrative structures or adding on to the structures will get the job done. How long have we had an environmental protection agency in this country?
I think it's been there since I was in class 2.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What is their remit and what have they done about it? They will go around and collect, there are fees and things that they charge. They never renege on that responsibility. But what are the deliverables? So when we have these things, we will run into the kind of problems that we have, because the agencies themselves, we are not forcing them to do the work that they are supposed to be doing. We set up a lot of things. We make laws. I hear Mahama Ayariga is saying that he's going to go to court and do it. Almost every law we make, we ask the minister to do regulations.
Right.
They never do. So it means that we've done step 1. Step 2 has been left undone. And from time immemorial, you cannot say that it's just yesterday. The problem the MPP has with this one is that they had made a definite promise as to do this and that and that. And it's beginning to look like they are in a quagmire, because the minister here was complaining that he had a staff of 8 in his office and it's not enough to do anything.
That's after almost 1 year in office.
Yes, but I'm saying that, that's what I'm saying, that you see, sometimes the approach doesn't give me comfort. It doesn't give me comfort. And it's beginning to look like most of the things we do are rhetorics. We just talk and visualize things and talk and go home. And we never get to do the things that we must do. Because where is the blueprint anyway? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
So from day one, even what we are discussing, we are saying that the data is flawed. From day one, the data we have is old data. It cannot solve the problems of today. So if it's old data, how can somebody be saying that I'm fighting sanitation when the data to do it is not even there? So yes, if you needed to do 10 tracks, right, and your data tells you that you need 2, how are you able to get to clear that? And then we are talking about landfill sites and all these things. All these things are good, but in other parts of the world, Are they still worried about landfill sites?
No, I think landfill sites are.
Look, I always say that. I walked into a shop in Rwanda. And I bought water from the refrigerator. What we will call here bottled water. Then they put it in a paper carrier for me. And I walked away. Then I said, but these people. And as I said, they said it's only paper. You don't use plastic there. In London, you know that in London, the top shops, I don't know about but if you go to the shops, if you need plastic, you pay extra. In this country, we are fighting to the nail to maintain all. What kind of business?
Just let me introduce my.
How do we get sick to make progress?
I guess from the MPP. Richard Asante is a member of the MPP's communication. Richard, good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're good.
I'm doing great. I think I need to apologize to your amazing viewers. It wasn't my fault. It was last minute switch. The original person was supposed to be here at an emergency, and I was detailed for another platform, so I needed to.
So you had to
finish up and rush to this place too.
Grateful.
I know in my absence, my good brother and my senior honorable has really literally swallowed.
Oh no!
And dealt with me.
You know, George is a fine gentleman.
Mr. Low, happy I haven't seen you in the whole this year.
When they're going is good, you
forget your friends. You're always friends. I mean, when they're going is good, you forget your friends. All right. I think once I was realizing that, I mean, because I wouldn't catch up with some of the things, I decided to get somebody to watch and give me the various pointers, so I will be able to sort of respond to some of the few issues that were raised. And let me quickly look at the police incident and the robbery cases. That I think was the first topic that you treated. And
he thinks that
my government has not done much.
No, he thinks that the IGP having been in office and seemingly unable to deal with this situation must step aside. You don't think so?
Said that he made a promise. He made a promise and gave a program.
We are jumping ahead of ourselves.
Why?
And particularly when we want to sort of pigeonhole individuals who are continuously make themselves and their lives available to this state and continue to serve this country. I mean, for us as a people, and as even, let me not even use Ghana as an example, but look at other jurisdictions, those so-called advanced countries where we know that security is top-notch, where we know that in terms of the security budget, it is far away even our total GDP. Those countries, they do have issues of robbery, bombs, and other attacks every now and then, even school shootings and other. When you take the US, for instance, even this year, how many have been there witness? Crime would persist. What can be done is to reduce and also continue to fight and see how all of us can. I think we are doing. We are fighting it. We are fighting it. You see, the reason why we need to understand and appreciate these issues from that context is that in the modern day policing, the chunk or the biggest portion of the policing activity sits in the laps of the ordinary citizens or the populace, because you need them to volunteer information and assist the police in whatever it is that they do. My brother, what is the total number of police force?
If the person,
if you allow me a minute,
a gun to his head,
if you allow me a minute, I'm sure you appreciate that. You see, let's understand this. What is the total number of the police force? It's not even up to 100,000. What is the total number of our population? We are looking in excess of 27 million. So it does appear that we cannot position one police officer at every single corner. We are still fighting and trying to get to. That's why this year government is looking at getting on board close to 3,000 additional men to support the police.
Would that solve the problem?
So these are things that can help reduce. And I'm telling you, no matter even if you convert everybody, every citizen into a police officer, there will be crime. Because there will be individuals who will be within the police whom you can't even tell from their face whether they will they'll misconduct themselves or not. I hope you're getting me. That principle of no act, not to see the mind's construction in the face, persists everywhere. We can't even know who has planned to go and misconduct themselves. I tell you, within this year, government has procured and provided for the police over 200 pickups as part of the operation.
The commander in this situation said
and over 20 saloon, over 200 saloon vehicles has equally been procured. Government has helped with them. That's what I'm saying. The police over the period.
A case where commander says, I don't even have a vehicle to track.
My brother, I understand you. See, there are various challenges at every facet of our society and our lives. That is what we continue. What governments and
I think government of the day at every given time would do is to try and help reduce the difficulties or the frustrations. We continue to offer some solutions. That's why this year, government has devoted over 800 million Ghana cedis to support the police in their activities. There have been other things to even help encourage them. For instance, the insurance policy has been set in place to help take care of police individuals who suffer some injuries or even die in the course of duty. That is a new policy that this government
Richard, the man has an insurance policy, but he goes to fight armed robbers, and he has no bulletproof jacket.
All those the insurance. But if you look at this particular money that we are talking about, 800 million, the purpose of this is to look at retraining, look at providing the needed logistics, including the bulletproof vests that you are talking about, and other arms and other machinery and equipment that they will need to help them fight. I think there's other things that we need to understand.
I see.
I've gone through, when I heard my brother's comment on that, as was reported to me, it's a reporter's piece, so I need to let him understand that. I decided to scan through to check over the period what has been some of the issues or the difficulties that we continue to witness as a country. I realized that in the year 2015 alone, we had over, in Accra, attacks on forest bureaus. We had 8. When you go to other regions, there are a couple of them. In terms of breaking police stations and other things, at some part in Volta region, people went and literally freed the individuals who have been arrested by the police. There are other incidences across the country. You would not want to do that so to be that you are equalizing the issues. But what it is that as a country, the only way we can fight crime is when we unite, when we provide the needed assistance to the police. But the police at every given time...
Whose duty is it to provide this assistance?
It's the community. Every one of us, because the point is that these criminals are living within society. They are living in homes. They have neighbors. They have friends. I mean, there are people that you don't really know what exactly that they do. But every now and then, they see the kind of lifestyle that they live. Sometimes you can tip the police. And the police will continue to also pray that they will be professional. So when you receive such information, you will not give a hint to these criminals so that they will go apprehending some of these individuals. So for the president and the government has indicated to the good people of this country that the most important resource we have as a people is the human resource. And government will continue to protect the lives of every human being and the property of the individual. Government will provide the needed assistance to the police and other law enforcement agencies, including providing the needed assistance to all the individuals, the groups, for instance, the police, the judiciary, the military, the various investigative bodies like the IOCO and others, SRAJ and all these institutions to help them fight crime, corruption, and other things.
How would government react if the public, if after doing all this, the public thinks that they are not safe? How would government react?
I think government will not be happy.
That the public is being dishonest?
Oh, no, you can't say, because the point is that I know, and most of us have been in a situation where you wake up to see an armed robber with a gun at your head. So we all understand how traumatized every single person would be. I will not sit here and say that people's frustration, people's pain, because some people have been raped.
Right.
People have been shot dead. Their properties taken away from them. Over the years, people have suffered various levels of injuries as a result of robbery attacks. It will be so unfair, including the police. Remember last 2016, a police officer lost their life at La Paz area there. 2017, I think similar incident happened somewhere around too. It tells you that a lot of people, individuals who have suffered in the hands of criminals. What we can do is that let's unite and fight these criminals. Let's volunteer information to the police administration. Government will continue to provide the needed assistance, retooling, and also helping increase the numbers. Because you know the ratio for us provided by the UN. What we ought to do, government is gradually inching closer to that ratio of the 700 to 1 police officer. I think we are working closer to that, and I'm sure that we'll be able to get there.
You see, Richard maybe possibly is talking about what ought to be.
Right. But he says government is doing
but what I am
saying,
and where I depart from him is, I see, When you are called a police officer of a certain caliber, the understanding is that you are not like me and you. As citizens, we continue to support the police. In actual fact, haven't there been stories of communities who have even put up a police post?
There are, I mean.
You know, and yet police officers have not been posted there. But I am saying that when you sit in leadership of the police, vision is important. Action is important. Doing things differently. Doing things, thinking outside the box to achieve. Like I was telling you, if I'm IGP, I will expect the IGP to say that, look, you know, in some of these areas which are commercial areas, BNI, how can we collaborate so that apart from, because the police, BNI, for instance, will be able to get more information quickly and feed the police. You understand? What are we doing? We need a new paradigm of fighting crime in this country, and that is what I want Richie to understand. After the government, it can continue to have the vision of making available 800 million. That money will never come anyway, we all know. Sitting in parliament, I've approved too many. Please, I've approved. Please, sitting in parliament, because we've approved too many things that never get benefit of the town. I'm saying that at the close of the day, it is not just enough to provide police with the logistics. Deployment of those logistics is key, and then leadership is key, because there are times when I fought with police people on the street. I say, you are road police patrol, Bronga Afu. And the guy is at a funeral in Accra. I said, so the vehicle that you were giving, was it meant for funerals in Accra?
I see.
So deployment of those things are important. Let's feel the presence of the police, both uniformed and ununiformed. Let police have data and statistics about every area, the rate of armed robbery, the kind of people who live there, profile the people. That is how you do it these days. These days, it's not enough to sit in a station and pick a call and say, hello, okay, if they attack, we are coming. No, that is old policing. New policing means that you are ahead of the criminal.
And you think we are not doing that?
Yeah, of course. Sometimes
Richard is taking us back on our conversation.
There's one thing I
wrap up on this quickly.
There's one thing I want us to understand. You see, in our quest to criticize the police administration, I think what I require that we ought to be constructive in our criticism.
George has given quite a number of
suggestions. I'm not criticizing. I'm saying this is the way we ought to go.
Richard, is there any problem with criticizing a public institution that we pay with our taxes?
I'm saying that we should criticize.
Yes, George has given quite a couple of constructive criticisms.
We need to understand that these are individuals who continue to lay their lives on the line for every one of us on a daily basis. They continue to suffer, they continue to die on the course of. Remember, just 2-3 years ago, a police officer sitting in a U-turn bus, because of the fact that he was wearing a uniform, he was shot dead. Right. A police officer was even shot by his own colleagues when he was trying to fight criminals. They did not realize that was an accident. We know these police officers who died on the line of duties. You remember the incident at Kwabenya? When the police officer on line of duty died. So when we are doing that, though we are trying to suggest other new processes and other mechanisms that ought to be adopted by the police administration, which I know they are doing, we equally ought to find ways of inserting certain portions in our in our submission that seek to encourage them, that seek to let them understand that we are with them, we are going to support them. But if we continue to heap these sort of unfair criticisms on them, it's rather demoralizing. And what I want to say is that
Richard,
I know
which criticism is unfair.
In the pipeline,
Richard, tell me which criticism is unfair.
You see, I'm not sure at the moment Honorable Judge Doe has said anything that seems to suggest that they've even done anything positive.
Oh no,
I mean, obviously, all the points that he's been saying have to do with the fact that they are sitting in their offices and they are picking this in. They are not going to them. But we see the police all over the place. We see them continue to do that.
Please,
and I know. Lastly, before Honorable Judge Doe comes in, it's my brother. He understands this.
I want her to quickly wrap.
Right before he comes in, you know, I know that the current IGP and his team, the kind of work, if as we speak, we know that some of them are undergoing training at the police training institutes. Serious training, the retraining of the men, especially the investigators. I know for a fact that within the next couple of months or so, the IGP and his team are looking at promoting individuals within the police ranks whose promotion has been held on for the past 6 years. just to encourage them. We need to do all these things. Government has released over 800 million. Logistics have been provided. Bulletproof vests and other things have been procured for these people. So whatever government ought to do, government is doing it. So we want our brothers in NDC to be at least optimistic. The spirit of pessimism is literally eating away every sort of positive things that are being channeled by government. And that is the frustration some of us derive from their submission. They are being too pessimistic.
Let's move on.
I mean, opposition they'll be there for long.
Richard,
let them be positive.
Say what you say, but I say that if after saying here that you've released money, you've sent this and that, and your commanders and the men on the ground say that not as rich as, who should we believe? Okay, the policeman will feel more solid. No, they'll feel more solid if you give them bulletproof vest.
It's like our wives. No matter the amount you provide for them,
talk for yourself.
Every given situation,
I don't want trouble.
They will need more money to upgrade the situation. So do you understand that? So the police will need more money.
Gentlemen, let me continue from where we had to make a detour because Richard came in. George had made his submission on the issue of sanitation. And Richard, let me quickly come to you. One key thing that government has done is to set up the Ministry of Sanitation to deal with this problem. But yesterday, I think a huge revelation was made by the minister in charge, and he said that his office doesn't even have the human resource. So was it a joke in setting up that ministry?
I think I don't know whether. I mean, if it came from the minister,
he
then I have a major difficulty.
I mean, the Finder story has it. I'll quickly look for it and tell you.
Mr. He has the opportunity to employ it or to request from the system additional men and women who could, because at the moment we are grappling with unemployment as a country. So if he thinks he requires additional men to assist him in his office, I think that I believe that this shouldn't be an issue that he had to talk to the media about. I'm sure he has access to the powers that be, including seeking the needed financial clearance for the Ministry of Finance to sort of procure for himself the hands that will assist him in delivering. I'm not happy that if indeed it's true that such comment came from me. I'm not sure that I want to endorse that. But I think let's look at a larger issue of sanitation in the country. I think it has been a major problem that confronts us over the period. We've adopted several strategies, including at a certain point even in the area of the NDC trying to ban plastic bags and all that. And we knew the sort of pressures that was placed on government and the fear of losing out in the election. So they backtracked on that particular event program. I think government has given strongest indication that we are going to take this thing very serious at the various sectors. But the point is that the only way you can deal with sanitation issue is to micromanage the issue. If you literally micromanage it, where you have every corner, every part of the country looking at that issue and attending to it, I think we will go a long way. There are various issues that confront that sector, and that have to do with money. And investment in that...
Is the weight itself not money?
It is, and I'm sure Africa will not come to appreciate this, because I remember countries that I've lived in, I mean, like the US and other countries, you realize that even in terms of the kind of garbage that comes out of your house, there are various containers that depicts what you ought to place in one. There's one literally meant for plastics, those that are made for degradable materials, and those that are made for grass and other things, so that they will take them for recycling. And paper stuff and all those things. I think we need to start looking at all these issues and see how we can recycle this. And I think the concept of this is someone that we came to meet back in the days. I know this government is making efforts and to recruit more people and turn them to sanitation, I think inspectors or agents around the country who would go around to check this. I think we need to bring that concept back. Because I remember those times. They work to the extent of even checking the water in your barrel to see whether it is clean. And I think some of the things we think this some advancements in whatever it is.
The environment in which we live now.
No, it is.
Population and if we are struggling with providing security, man, I'm wondering how we can get these sanitation marshals, as the president mentioned, to go and deal with this issue.
Right.
But let me bring Johnny in first. We'll come back. Johnny, good morning once again.
Good morning, Senior Bright.
I'm thinking 6 months after the president announced that we're going to have sanitation marshals, I wonder if one has been appointed or not. But
no, the assemblies haven't told us.
I'm just coming from 3FM. We're on radio. We called Mr. Ambrose Derry to speak about the security issue. He said he was going to the 28th February Crossroads event. So priority is that we like funerals more than the security of the people. That's my conclusion.
That's unfair.
But I was in a bank in Kumasi.
Richard thinks it's unfair.
Well, I called them. We called him to speak to us on radio about the crime that happened yesterday. He said it was going to 28th February. What is 28th February? Not a funeral. Thank you. I was in a bank in Kumasi. The police detail there was chatting with a woman in front of the bank. So I called and questioned him about whereabouts of his rifle. Without shame, he told me his rifle was in the car. You can imagine that he will have to run to his car for his rifle. My point is that the security lapses are becoming too many. Good morning, TV3. It looks like the IGP has lost control of the security issues of the country, and so he should be dismissed immediately by the president. Else, we are not safe as citizens of the nation. Jake in Tamale. We are not serious as a country. We train persons for 3 to 4 months and are sacked on grounds which makes no sense because the knowledge they acquire is with them and the pain stays with them. Therefore, they make the nation an enemy to them to survive. Common sense ministry, we need to evolve from this state. Thank you very much, RKB. Good morning, Bright and your panelists. I think the MPP government has failed Ghanaians woefully since they came to power. The security situation in this country has worsened. Ghanaians are not safe under the incompetent government and must be voted out come 2020. Akodogo David from Timpani constituency. Good morning, comrades. We thank you for the good work you're giving to Mother Ghana. The spate of robbery is now getting scary. The IGP is not on top of his game. He must be sacked to send warning to non-performing top officials. So many insecurity issues. Lexus in Dansoman. My name is Johnson from Tema Community 5. I think we have to know the kind of people we employed because they are the same people that gives information out of the bad ones. The sad thing about the Western security situation in Ghana is that we have National Security Coordinator, National Security Minister, IGP, Interior Minister, Deputy Minister of Interior, Defense Minister, and Deputy Defense Minister. We are not feeling safe in this country anymore. And Akufo-Addo from Baba Musa. Michael Amini, UK says, the rampant robbery attacks of late terrorizing Ghanaians is a very worrying situation, and there's the need for the police administration to strategize their operations in adopting pragmatic and proactive approach in dealing with this act of lawlessness. It's mind-boggling how armed robbers were able to raid Royal Motors in such a horrific manner in daylight, if not an insider who gave them the information. Congrats to our police in arresting 2 suspects, and we have full confidence in the police to apprehend all those connected to the robbery. Let we, the citizens, also be extra cautious of our own personal security and take it serious. Politicians give us so many promises to find their way to power, but they lie. They did not fulfill those promises. They free themselves and enslave the people. So now let's fight to free the nation, because by using the power that has been bestowed on us by the Constitution, this nation is not for one person or a group of persons, but for all of us. So long as men die, liberty will never perish. Let's use our power to give the youth a future and old age a security. A law must be passed to make CCTV mandatory. Government must also place CCTV on every busy junction. Shaggy Nima suggests. And please, the primary concern about health is sanitation. The question is, how much salary does an environmental health and sanitation officer take home? Less than 700 cedis. So in Ghana, the government does not realize that good sanitation is good life and health. Mumuni Abugri Boku Central raises a critical point. If you know Kwacha them well, they will do their work well. Good morning.
George, grateful. Johnny, let's do a wrap up. We are hitting the top of the George, so which way do we go?
You see, I think that, again, we shouldn't go back to basis. We should begin to define the way we deal with these things in contemporary ways. You see, he's talking about sama and things like that. But you see, Johnny, I don't know if you've traveled outside the city, the capital city.
It's cleaner.
It's far cleaner.
Yeah,
in my village, you will not have issues with these things.
Plastic.
Yes, and things like that. They are not that phenomenal.
I think they are more decent.
Yes.
No, they live more communal sort of life.
Yes. But we are saying that, we are even saying that, so you don't get stories from those places like we get from the cities. Right. So clearly our focus, even in the cities, we have failed. So we must focus and begin to, like you are saying, segregation of waste, management of waste, turning waste into a resource. I'll give you an example. Something that we must promote, and it is sanitation. My house, right? I use biogas. So whatever you generate, it goes somewhere, and it's supposed to. I've been told that if I do it for some time, I'll generate gas to cook in my kitchen. So the connection has been done. That is also part of sanitation. You are turning it into a resource. So if your gas, if you start producing gas, it means that your expenditure on LPG gas is cut out. These are the things you must promote. All schools must do that. Government should focus on those areas. And then let's do the recycling. The plastic that we are with, if we don't want to ban it, how do we recycle it for some other use?
We have a few companies, local companies.
Yes.
I know Jacora Ventures
so if you see, let me tell you, for me, that is why I always criticize the MPP about policy, and then people think that my criticism may not be constructive. But it is. I am saying that, so if government is saying one district, one factory, these are some of the things government should be looking at.
We could have a waste management.
Yes, we could have maybe those things so that we don't even need to look for external markets. But we can do these things here and get our money's value for money.
And the local companies
who can do these things.
In their country, we're importing waste.
Yes. So, you see, these are the things we should be looking at. We shouldn't just be thinking that, oh, pineapple, then use this one. No. Yes, agri-business is good. The value chain must be improved. But I'm saying that if these are ready raw materials available, that is going waste and giving us problems. Why don't we focus on some of these, support some of these companies to grow bigger, and do things.
Okay.
So the policy must be focused. And for me, that is what I always say.
Okay. Richard,
I think at the end of the day, what we ought to appreciate as a people is that no matter the effort in wanting to criticize government, the chunk of the work depends on us as individuals. Okay. I think we need to understand that whatever it is that we do in the environment, it comes to harm us or hurt us. If there's outbreak of cholera, everybody would have to be, life can be affected. If there's rain and storm and all those things, and because our gutters are choked with filth, we know the consequences of same when it came to that June 3rd disaster. I think we've gotten to a crossroad in terms of how we handle issues of sanitation. I think that individuals, we ought to make sure that it becomes a daily activity. Let's move from this mentality that because I work here, I do here, I can clean my own environment, my own house. Please, let's try and do that, because that's the only way forward. Let's micromanage the situation. Take care of your house, take care of your office, the gutter in front of your home. Let's try and do that in that manner. And those who have been given the mandate, those who have procured contract, the Zoom Lions and other companies, that comes in mind. Those who have been, please go and do your best at the areas, the territory that have been given to you. If you see heaps of refuse at the place where some individuals have been paid and they are not really performing, those individuals who are not performing, please, let's take away the contract from them and give it to those who are ready to work.
Okay, Richard, I'm grateful. He's Richard.
Yeah, but let me just say that I'm very happy this morning that Richard finally realizes that when you are criticizing, you should know that really the work is for all of us. Okay. It took him to get to 2017 to realize that when he was in opposition, he didn't know this truth. But I thank him that he has come to the realization.
All right. Richard Asadi is a member of the MPP's communication team. George Lowe is a former member of parliament for Northern Constituency, is a member of the NBC. It's a grateful gentleman for your Wednesday morning. That you sent in comment, we're grateful. Stay with us. We'll read the rest. Up next, sports. Right, let's talk about Mission, supported by Star Ghana and the European Union and others. Now, we've been in the Bungu district talking about education and health, and the commitment of the district in improving education was noted in the provision of a school building for residents of Akuluyo, one of the communities. Now, a sword was cut to have a 3-unit classroom block constructed. Let's watch what happened there.
What object can you see in the sky?
Excited, a community that was in need now has every right to sing and dance. For years, this school infrastructure was poor. For the people of Akoliyo, a farming community, education was important to them. But a poor school building deprived kids of good education. Classes were combined.
Very good. Rahel, I can hear you. Speak loud. Amos, do not eat in the assistant lab. Very good. Abigail.
KG 1 and 2 were in one classroom. The day nursery and class 1 also shared one classroom. The school had to use an office space for class 2. The worst of all was the kindergarten class. They sat under this. Many kids stayed away from school.
The teachers are supposed to be teaching the children at different times, but because we have to combine them, one has to enter and teach and the other one will also come inside. So because of that, it slows the learning.
Parents had very little reason to send their children to school. Education infrastructure in the district was poor.
During rainy season, we can't even have classes. You have to go in and combine with their seniors. That's class 3 or class 4.
Communities, including Akoliyo, had seen the poor school infrastructure and its toll on education, and had made efforts to improve school buildings.
We are challenged. The number of classes keep dwindling as compared to the increasing number of children in our schools. And even though politicians will easily like to target as schools under trees or trees under schools, what they may tell me to be, I think we have so many classes under trees and not schools under trees. Because in many of the schools, you get there and you realize that we have a 3-classroom block. But the time the 3-classroom block was provided, the school had up to primary 3. So maybe at that time, it was necessary to work to meet that demand. But that is about 3 years now. So you realize that the school will now need about 6 classrooms. So the rest of the extra 3 classrooms will be found under trees.
To support these communities, the District Assembly initiated several moves.
The crux of the matter is the general infrastructure for the schooling. It's about furniture, it's about classroom infrastructure, it's about quality of teachers, it's about teaching and learning materials, and it's about access to education. So in the broad spectrum, we are trying to see how we can address issues with regards to access, quality, and affordability.
Akoliyo was one of such communities which benefited from a 3-unit classroom block, and the residents could not hide their joy. Akoliyo is excited. The community in the Bongo district of the Upper East region has been depressed for several years. Educational infrastructure, very, very poor. Their kids studied under this shed, and for years, this is what they had to contend with. They have tried, but could not. This meeting is expected to finalize arrangements to have a new school block constructed. Excitement is on the faces of every member of this community. A new school block, a new beginning, and a new step ahead into education in the future. The community of about 750 people will, in about 4 months, see a new school building at a cost of 190,000 cedis. The community is grateful the Assembly has come to its aid.
We had to make a budgetary allocation towards putting up the classroom block. So the peoples in that community used to travel about 2 to 3 kilometers to be able to to access education. So if we do not go to their aid, it means that they're going to be left out. Based on that cry, I thought we should put up the facility for them. A sort has been cut to construct a 3-unit classroom block for them and possibly to drill and mechanize a borehole for the children. So that for the first time, they will have some access to education.
The facility will come with offices, a storeroom, and sanitary areas.
We are so excited for what the government is putting forward for us, because in the olden days we used not to have schools to go. But as of now, the government is putting this building for us. We are very, very happy for what he's doing for us.
The over 170 pupils of the school will very soon enjoy modern facilities.
All we need is the community support. It's a give and take affair. We've asked them to eschew laziness, petty stealing, preferring and all that other things. So if asked that they should support us as a community so that we also work in earnest. And the project will roughly, it will not take more than 4 months to complete.
The District Assembly and the Education Directorate are poised to use education to move development forward.
It's not only the classroom that is their problem. They do not also have furniture. The last time I managed to secure 25 pieces of dual desk for their community. But that is not enough. Very soon, we will be procuring furniture and will allocate a few pieces to that school. So our Kuliyo peoples should be happy that this government has come to their aid.
The Assembly says many more facilities will be added to Akuliyo Basic School so that kids who complete and will move on to the next level will not have to travel to other communities to further their education. Bright Nanamfo, TV3.
Right, mission there, making some waves there in the Bongo district. Star Ghana are supported, being funded by the NEDA, the FID, and the European Union. The district chief executive, Peter Ayimbisa himself, is with me in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, Bright.
Hope you're doing great.
Yes, I'm doing quite well.
Right. Thanks for the reception when we were in Bongo. But first, what is the commitment? We saw Akuliyo gets a school. What is the commitment of the Assembly in improving education in Bongo?
Well, first of all, let me thank you and your team for making time to visit the Bongo district. Let me also use the opportunity to greet the paramount chief of the Bongo traditional area, Namba Baba Selifu Alimyaru. In fact, I'm greeting him and the rest of the people because of the enormous support that he gives to us as an assembly and as a district. Yes, education, they say, is the bedrock of everything. Development revolves around education. So issues with regards to education must be taken seriously. And we have come into office at a time where a lot of things are not going so well for us in the Bongo district.
In terms of education?
In terms of education, because we have come in a time where there's a gap there's furniture gap, over 5,000 difference. School children have to lie on the bed, on their stomachs, to be able to take lessons. We have come at a time where classrooms are not there. We have come at a time where teaching and learning materials are not there. So the commitment of the Assembly is to ensure they will prepare and make adequate budget allocation towards improving the standards of education in the Bongo district.
So it is also...
And I'm committed, and the Assembly is committed in ensuring that we provide these facilities that are not in existence in the district so that we can improve the standards of education.
So it is not only Akuliyo that will get a school. Which other communities that perhaps these kids will struggle if the rain starts are getting school blocks?
In fact, Akuliyo's case is just one in many. Because if you had time to go around the entire district, you would see that there are many, many more schools that perhaps are sitting on the trees or are without furniture. So what we are doing is to begin from somewhere. We cannot at once provide these facilities in every community or every school. So we are starting with Akuliyo, and very soon we are moving to Ayopia, where we are going to also put up another 3-unit classroom block for the KG. You know, now kindergarten is now part of the, it's now mainstream education. So we need to start from that place. So Ayopia Primary School will also get another structure like what we are doing.
At the moment, the KG class is seated in the accommodation for teachers. So that is what you intend to change?
Yes, at the moment, you know, we have these offices that are usually attached to the schools. And because of the lack of the classroom facilities, we need to accommodate these peoples in this little space that is supposed to be staff common rooms, that's supposed to be offices. Put the children there. You know, that place, there's no enough ventilation. The space is too small. You can't even, the arrangement is not conducive for teaching and learning. So we are going to collapse these ones and put up new classrooms so they'll be able to accommodate these pupils. In fact, last week I was at Kasingo and I saw similar situation. You see, when I took over, I went to some schools, but I didn't have the opportunity to visit every school. I didn't know the insight like I know now. Now what is happening is that the situation of Akuliyo is not in isolation.
It's repeated
around
all over
the district. We have these ones. And over the years, we say we have built so many schools, we have constructed schools, we have provided furniture, we have done so many things. But if you go to the ground, the reality will prove you wrong. So we must do everything possible to ensure that we provide the classrooms for these children. Because one day, I come from a village, Bongosui, and I schooled under trees. In 21st century, we should not allow our children who are supposed to become presidents, who are supposed to become ministers, who are supposed to become MPs and leaders like you and I, to use such facilities. I don't think it's acceptable.
In getting these budgetary constraints, and so perhaps the assembly will need support?
Yes, we cannot do it alone. Not even central government can do it alone. We need other organizations, NGOs, and well-meaning Ghanaians to come to support us. In fact, we are making sure that we make adequate allocation for education. You know, education, health, agriculture, good governance are the things we're looking at. But a chunk of our resources goes into education. So I'm using your medium to appeal to well-meaning Ghanaians, the Minister of Education, to come to our aid quickly. Otherwise, we would fall behind. We cannot move with the Ghana. We want to move together. So,
in wrapping up our conversation, I mean, Mission Ghana was in your district, and of course, we'll have time to touch on health and other issues some other time when we're able to pull you from Bongo to the studio in Accra. But the support of institutions like TV3, like Star Ghana, and all of them in bringing development to your district, how would you assess it, and what are the needs, and what would you want done more?
Well, I think that Bright, Star Ghana, and TV3 should be commended for unearthing what exists that people would not have known if your network had not visited these communities. So I commend them seriously and ask for more. They should take time off and visit these villages. They will unearth what you saw in Akuliyo. So I think that by and large, we are asking them to continue to do more in this direction so that they would showcase what we have, the problems that we face in our respective districts, so that people who are willing to support, people who are willing to throw their resources into education will channel such resources into these left to rot communities. And I think that you are doing so well, and we commend you and ask you to continue to do more. Maybe this is what you did in Akuliyo. Go to Kasingo, go to Awisi, go to Sikabisi, and you name them, and you will see worst of it in this community. So we commend you, sister.
Right. Your people in Bongo are watching you. Your final words to them, and then we wrap up.
Well, what I would tell the Bongo people is to be patient with this government. The leadership of Nanado is down to earth with the people. The promises we made, we are going to deliver on our promises. What we need to do is to be patient. Just wait, and by the time we finish our first year in government, the Bongo people would have seen that we love them, we care for them, we are prepared to bring every development to their doorsteps. So they should be patient with us. I must add quickly that without peace, no community will develop. The Bongo district was adjudged the most peaceful district in the region for 2017. So peace comes as a result of the maintenance, as a result of the acceptance, as a result of coexistence. And I must commend the various actors for letting us chalk this success.
I am grateful too for your time with us in the studio. Peter Yimbisa is the District Chief Executive of the Bongo District, and the mission is supported by Star Ghana and funded by Danida DFID and the European Union. There's more this weekend on Mission. Stay right here on TV3.
Welcome back. So let's talk about your health, because of course that is what keeps you going. A healthy body, healthy mind, certainly a healthy Ghana. I'll be talking to Dr. Dennis Bote. He's the medical director for HealthNet Medical Center. And of course, we are talking about heart attack. So let's get talking. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good.
How's your heart doing?
Pretty well.
Great. So Dr. Bote, tell us about heart attacks. What really is it?
Well, I think there's one word that, before then, good morning to your viewers. It's one word that when people hear, it sends a lot of panic, shivers down the spine.
Yeah.
And it's becoming quite rampant, especially even in young people.
Right.
Something that maybe some years ago you might think it's something for the elderly, but now young people are dying, sudden deaths are happening all over the place. And if we mention the word heart attack, it basically means that the heart has been attacked.
Okay.
And this time the heart is attacked as a result of reduction in blood supply to the heart.
Right.
So the heart becomes deprived of its blood supply. Okay. We know that the heart is the pump that pumps blood around your body, but the heart itself has to be fed with blood. So it has arteries and capillaries, so we call it the coronary artery, that supplies and feeds the heart with oxygen and nutrients. So if for any reason the blood supply that goes to feed the heart itself gets blocked, or it gets narrowed, such that the heart does not get enough blood supply, the muscles of the heart begin to die off. And when it dies off like that, that is what we call myocardial infarction, or the heart has been attacked as a result of deprivation of blood and therefore oxygen.
Okay, so what are some of the things that the person will feel is happening to them to know this is a heart attack?
When heart attack strikes, the commonest symptom that anyone will have would be chest pain.
Okay.
Chest pain usually either central or to the left side, but it's you are likely to hold your chest.
Okay.
It's very a serious kind of chest pain. The pain sometimes will radiate into your left arm or can radiate into your jaw or into your neck.
Okay.
And you would soon realize that breathing becomes a bit difficult. You become restless. You are likely to get into spontaneous coughing sometimes. And if it prolongs, if the attack prolongs and no intervention is gotten, then the body's arsenals are called into play. Before you realize you just start sweating spontaneously. It can trigger a vomit. It can trigger so many things, and you feel that life is coming to an end. And shortness of breath may come in. Your breathing is like you can't breathe. You can't have adequate breath. These are some of the things that would tell you that this pain I'm having is not a normal pain.
Kind of pain.
No.
But so, what are some of the conditions that will lead or predispose someone to having a heart attack?
Usually, a heart attack is caused by a clot that blocks the artery or the blood supply to the heart itself. And these clots may have other reasons why they happen. A person may have something like what we call a thrombus formed in the artery of the heart.
So basically, a thrombus is like a clot.
A clot in the artery. Sometimes the lining of the artery, the inner lining, what we call the lumen of the artery, we form certain things in there. Our lifestyle, cholesterols, and particles that get deposited within the blood vessels. Eventually, they get a plaque or a plaque over them that covers them. So it forms like a protrusion on the inner surface.
So can we relate this to the pipes that supply our water at home?
Yes.
Supposing you've got dirt in the pipes, you've got sand in the pipe, you've got green algae all in the pipe, then it reduces the flow you get in your house, isn't it?
So we have what we call ischemia. So the adequacy of blood supposed to get to the periphery or the actual destination, you don't get that same amount going. And so the dying of the cells may even be happening gradually over time. One day it just gets to the point that now the heart can take it no more and has to tell you that I am in pain. And a lot of chemical reactions will go on to release things that will make you feel the pain. So you have clots in there, or you have what we call the atherosclerotic plaques in there. Later they rupture and they form a clot in there, and then it prevents blood from going. Sometimes it can be so massive that it can be, the blood just cannot flow, and then the heart will begin to suffer. I need my supply. I need my supply of oxygen.
Dying.
It's just like trying to, if anybody should tie their hand or even tie your finger tightly, after some time you begin to feel pain.
Yes.
Yes, because that the tissues there are no more getting enough supply of oxygen, and therefore they have to bring out other things that will make you feel pain to know that I am in pain. So you have to release and let the blood flow. So basically the same thing that happens to the heart. And then with all these things happening, if intervention is not gotten within an hour or two, you may likely lose, the person may likely lose their life, because once you get into the point where the blood is not flowing to the heart, eventually the heart cannot contract. It will affect every other part of the body, what we call cardiac arrest. People usually ask, is this the same thing, cardiac arrest and heart attack? Are they the same thing? No, heart attack is getting to the heart. The heart is attacked by deprivation, so blood doesn't flow to it. So when the heart gets attacked and becomes weak, the effect on the system, the reduction in blood in the circulation or supply of oxygen to the general circulation is what we call cardiac arrest. So the heart has been arrested. Like now the heart has, how we use this word, my hands are tied. So at that point, heart attack has taken place. Then the heart's hands are tied behind it. It cannot supply anything to any other. So heart attack can lead to cardiac arrest. As much as other problems can lead to cardiac. You have good blood supply to your heart all the same, but then you can even have your heart valves having problems. You can have things like cardiomyopathies, the heart muscles themselves, even though there's good blood supply, cardiomyopathies will not help the heart to pump enough blood supply to the body, and therefore there's poor circulation out there, will be cardiac arrest.
But let me take some questions from our viewers. This is coming from Seydu Alice. She says, Doctor, please, the little thing I do, my heart beats faster and it makes me feel dizzy at once. What could be the cause?
Dizziness is a symptom, and it can be the result of many other things. It could be a cardiac problem. It could also be even simple anemia. If you don't have enough blood, you get easily tired, or easy fatigability can be the result. So in this scenario, it will be better for you to have your blood checked, have an ECG done to look at the electrical activity of your heart. But to sit here and say one particular thing is a problem, I might just send you into anxiety, unnecessary anxiety. So have it checked and see that whether you have adequacy of blood or if there is any electrical problems with your heart.
Abdulaziz Larry also asked, Doctor, sometimes I feel pains at the left side of my chest. Please, can you tell me what the problem is?
Yeah, the heart is a little bit more to the left side of our chest. So pain in the chest can also mean a lot of things. It can even be rib cage pain, costochondritis, or pleuritic pain. I mean, the ribs are, the rib and the tissues around it, or just rubbing against each other can give you that kind of pain. Again, it has to be examined and to tell you that, okay, this is of a cardiac origin, or is of a respiratory origin, or is even of a musculoskeletal origin.
But so finally, you talked about the lifestyle. What modifications will we need to put out there so people can prevent heart attacks?
Yeah, heart attacks, they don't just happen. It's not a one-day event. Things are going on inside us every day. Our lifestyles determine to a large extent what we become. And we would say that people should quit certain types of lifestyles. I mean, smoking should, if you can, you have to quit it. If you drink a lot of alcohol, reduce it or quit it. The kind of things we eat, too much of fatty foods, all these things get things deposited in the lumen of our hearts, and then it reduces blood supply. And people who have very high cholesterol levels are likely to fall prey to that. So it's important that people be able to maintain good cholesterol levels. Good body weight. Maintaining a good body weight is extremely important in prevention or living a life that you can avoid heart attacks. If you have diabetes, make sure your diabetes is well controlled. We're having incidences where people are, if you have even hypertension, make sure your hypertension is well controlled. People are stopping their medications and using prayers only to say that it will let the blood pressure will lead to other complications. So get your blood sugars well controlled, your hypertension well controlled, any other things you have. Good sleep, good rest, and regular exercising. These are things that will make your blood flow much better all the time.
Dr. Belte, final one. Just tell us, in case I suspect I'm having a heart attack at home, what should I do before I get to the hospital?
Well, if you are suspecting it, we say that taking deep breaths. Try and taking deep breaths if you're feeling that way. And sometimes bend forward and try to cough. So that that kind of coughing would actually help push blood out of the heart into circulation. As you do that, I mean, be calling
911 for emergency help.
Getting to the hospital.
Certainly, guys, we have been talking about heart attack and how to prevent it, and also how to even recognize it so you can make your way to the nearest hospital. I have been speaking to Dr. Dennis Bote. He's the medical director at HealthNet Medical Center. We'll take a break. We'll be back and we'll wrap up with today's show. Stay with us. Well, guys, it's time for us to wrap up. But of course, it's the last day in February. I'm excited. March is my month. And so, of course, right? Yes, it is. Okay. My birthday is coming up.
Well, you're a Ghanaian, so if March is your month, that's okay.
Well, no, aside, so I get to celebrate 2 special days in March. The Independence and my birthday.
And your birthday?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Amma has a birthday too. Great.
Even you have a birthday now. Anyway, guys, Johnny has gone to radio, but he will be with us tomorrow.
You're the chief executive of Media Concept from your family and the entire staff of Media Concept. Happy birthday to you, Samuel Okai. Have a blast. Let's see what happens. We're entering a new month. Your birthday, I'm sure, will drag into the new month.
And to all of those who are celebrating birthdays today, and even those who have to wait until the leap year to celebrate their birthdays, happy birthday. Happy birthday, and enjoy the day.
Is happening right from tomorrow, 1st of March, at the BN Pub at Bubuashi. I told you, it's going to be exciting because the whole month we'll see a lot of activities, including the first anniversary. We are there, or hosting all of you. Come and meet us.
All right, guys, so it's goodbye from us here. See you same time tomorrow. Have a blessed day. Tomorrow's first March. You see us here midweek for Bright, and we'll wait till weekend for ourselves on Friday. Have a good day.
Yesterday